Hey everyone, welcome to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. All right, so today we do have, again, quite a bit going on, as has been the case about the past week astrologically. Here with this, we are still coming off of the full moon here this part of the week, so it is a great part of the week for implementation. If anything shifted in your life since around Monday, maybe dealing with healing or transformation or self-empowerment, could be a really good day of implementing this. The moon will be in Sagittarius, so we could be feeling that post-transformation energy as we were yesterday. So feeling maybe a bit spirited, maybe a bit adventurous, and just good to expand our belief systems about what's possible in life. All right, so with this, we do have some deep energy. Mercury, who's been next to Mars, are going to be opposing up to Pluto. So when it comes to maybe the things we want, we can have very strong drives at this time. Be quite determined, maybe obsessive sometimes about things. With Mercury, maybe a deep, intense mind, and with Mars, very strong personal needs. So it is good to be conscious of this, essentially, with this collective energy. And it's through this conscious awareness and non-attachment to what we want or to these deep things can help really balance that out in constructive ways. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here's the sky for this Wednesday. And again, we are using the actual signs of the constellations called true Sidereal Astrology, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. So if you are new to the channel, definitely check out the link down below for more information. Also down below is a link for the Innerverse podcast that I was on, or that was released over the weekend. So if you haven't yet checked that out, it's a really cool interview. We talk about how to work with astrology in healthy and balanced ways. We also talk about the north and south nodes for your life path and how to cultivate those in healthy ways. So if you haven't yet checked it out, there's a link down below, the Innerverse podcast. All right, so let's take a look here at this transit of Sagittarius that we've got here today. This bit of expansive energy is the theme, especially coming off of some post-transformation from over the sort of weekend and early Monday time period. So that was the deep transformations of a fucus, and we may have done some maybe healing. We may have released some things, and now it's this post-transformation kind of energy. So great part of the week for implementation. If anything did shift, if anything came to your awareness, great for implementing that and just continuing to move things forward in this now second half of the lunar month. And that's fundamentally what Sagittarius is about. It is the post-transformation energy. You could think of it as the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. And, it's that freedom, right? And it's that larger perspective, the top-down perspective of life. So it's a great day for these kinds of things, maybe adventurousness, feeling free-spirited, anything about expanding our beliefs and being aware of our beliefs and perspectives on things, themes around this, and really good to cultivate that fiery side of ourselves. So in terms of the aspects, we do have this Mercury, who's been close to Mars, now opposite up to Pluto in Sagittarius. So with this, the collective default could be, maybe with Mercury, a bit of a deep or intense mind, maybe thinking about things, can sometimes be, again, maybe a bit obsessive, or recurring patterns or thinking patterns. And so with this, coupled with Mars, Mars is then, with the opposition to Pluto, maybe very strong personal needs, all right? So we could be feeling like we want to assert ourselves. Maybe there's some things we want we're holding on to really tightly. Maybe there's some fears or some inhibitions that are getting in our way that we feel very challenged with, perhaps, personally. And because this does involve oppositions, it can sometimes deal with relations, right? So it could be maybe feeling challenged from someone else or in a relationship or partnership kind of, or agreement, or just dealing with others kinds of situations. And with that, we can essentially channel this in constructive ways. So the way that we've sort of discovered as astrologers to work with Pluto is to essentially practice non-attachment, is the way I would simply state that. When we do have these strong needs, when we do have maybe this intense mind or thinking patterns, when we do release attachment to what we want and we accept maybe what, the fear is. The fear, it's like the fact that it's coming from us, that fear, that it's a projection of the mind, and accepting that, and accepting maybe, the outcome of however it might turn out. This non-attachment can be tremendously liberating. And to do this, bringing extra conscious attention to ourselves to see if we do have this sort of compulsion or this need or this strong intensity, just to be aware of it, because oftentimes just by shining that conscious light helps us release these things, helps us become non-attached to it. And then once we've done that, this opposition and really any aspect with Pluto can be very constructive for self-empowerment. So whatever does arise, again, by being aware of it and accepting it, the next step is to maybe take some action towards it, right? To empower ourselves. If there's some fears, facing those fears. If there's some patterns we're noticing, breaking those patterns, right? If there's any way we can channel our intense mind into constructive things like research, depth, truth, communicating the truth, right? Seeing the depth, right? Maybe writing it, journaling it, whatever, just getting it down in a practical form, super constructive. And especially when we're dealing with Mars, because Mars is the action planet. And so it is calling us on some level to take some action, some initiative, some maybe assertion. But again, with conscious awareness, with non-attachment, and in a way that's self-empowering, not violating the boundaries of others, or not getting caught up into power dynamics, or again, those kinds of intense situations. Instead, becoming aware of that this is coming from within, accepting it, and then seeing what we can do to empower ourselves so that we can have greater assertion, greater independence, greater communication on this level. So great way of working with this. Like I said, it can be very constructive. And if there was anything from roughly about a year ago that maybe was some sort of thing that you were motivated towards or asserting yourself with, this could be a sort of completion with some of these things, and maybe a shift in the right direction with some of these motivations or drives with Mars. With Mars's sort of 1 1/4 of a year halfway point of his 2.5-year transit with the sky. All right, so that's the most important thing going on today, and the moon is going to be passing over Pluto, just adding to this. There could be this emotional component to it because the moon often represents our inner world, spirituality, our feelings, and so definitely an emotional transformation along with this as well. All right, everyone, so that's the day in a nutshell. Like I said, it can be very constructive, awareness, this acceptance of how we're feeling, of what we're observing, that it's coming from within, and then channeling it into constructive ways through action or self-empowerment, or again, using our mind. And with that conjunction, Mercury and Mars are in Gemini, so it makes it very good for practical matters. Really good time to balance. Again, what this Sagittarius energy is about is expanding our beliefs and perspectives right now, but channeling it into practical ways can be fantastic with Gemini. Things more in our immediate environment, dealing more with how things can be, implemented and put into use in that practical day-to-day sense. All right, everyone, so that's the day in a nutshell, that opposition, and then the theme about this implementation of any transformative energies from that full moon on Monday, and feeling a bit of that free-spirited post-transformation energy, helping us expand forward with Sagittarius. All right, everyone, so have a fantastic day. Again, do check out the Innerverse podcast down below, and have a great one, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the next daily video. Take care.